All right. If you are struggling with the lab activity for today, here are what I'm going to do here is give you guys a little bit of help, a little bit of instruction as to how to go about constructing these circuits and measuring currents and stuff like that. So just a little tutorial, if you will. All right. So we've got our home screen, physics 1, our sub-day instructions and work right here. You can see the video that I made a little bit earlier for the actual instructions, what we need to do today, the link to the simulation, which I am going to use right now. It actually opens up in Schoology, and you can totally use it in Schoology if you want, and just use it on the screen. I think it's a little bit nicer to have the whole screen. So if you click the circuit construction simulation button again at the top here, it'll open the full PhET simulation web page. We want the lab component, so click on the lab component there. And then the document that we're going to be working on is right below that, the series and parallel circuits. This instructional video should be right beneath this series and parallel circuits thing when I finish with it and when it gets uploaded. So I'm going to open that up, download this assignment, and let's get started. So you're going to build a group of series circuits, measure the current going through the wires. Here is the first circuit, right? First circuit comprised of 3 batteries, a couple wires, a light bulb, and a switch. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our circuit construction kit and get that set up. So battery, 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 wire, wire, light bulb. The light bulbs are a little bit tricky, or can be a little bit tricky. You need to make sure that each one of these red circles right here, hopefully you can see my mouse. I don't know if you actually can, but each one of these red connector circles for the light bulb is connected to. So if one of the red circles is left open, the light bulb won't be part of the circuit. So you can see I'm going to connect the bottom one, and it turns black when it has a connection. So make sure both of these red circles are black, or else the light bulb won't be part of the circuit. So I'll drag my second wire in, and this one I'm going to connect to the other one, right? And now we have a connection with the bottom circle. We have a connection with the circle that's a little farther up. The light bulb will be part of the circuit. And then a switch, and then back to our battery. So there is the opening circuit there. Let me just go back and double check. 3 batteries, light bulb connected, and a switch. Good. So there's our opening circuit. Before we go on and start part 2, and I probably should have put this in here, but we want to measure the current going through the wires, right? So if you scroll down a little bit, there's a table for you to put the current and the brightness of the bulb for 1 bulb circuit, 2 bulb circuit, and 4 bulb circuit. So up here, I've built the first bulb, or the first circuit. I want to measure the current going through. So right now the current is not going through because my switch is open. So I'm going to close the switch. We can see my light bulb is very bright. Let me get this out of the way. But how do I measure the current here? So we have on the right side here, we have been using this current sensor, this guy. Today, we are not going to use that one. So I'm going to delete this one. We're going to use the one that has like a little crosshair, like a little scope on it, if you will. And we can take that and put that anywhere on the circuit, and it will tell us the current. So I'm going to put it right here, and we can see it's reading a current of 2.70 amps. I could put it up here, 2.70 amps. It'll actually be the same no matter where I put it in this circle or circuit, 2.70 amps. So when we go back to our table here, 1 bulb has a current of 2.70 amps. We actually don't need it, since it says amps at the top here, we don't need to put the amps in there. And the brightness, those bulbs are very bright. There's not really a way to measure brightness here. We just are kind of conceptually saying like that's a pretty bright light bulb right there. So that's the first circuit. And that is starting to fill in the table, right? We use the little current sensor that has a little crosshair with it, and we can put that anywhere and measure the current in the circuit. So that's what we're doing for the first part. Then we want to add another bulb to make a 2-bulb series circuit. So how do we make a 2-bulb series circuit? In a series circuit, we learned this last class, everything's connected together, one right after another. So I want to add another bulb to this series right after this second bulb. So I'm going to split this open, and I'm going to put a second light bulb into this circuit right here. Get another wire to attach it. And there we go. Right now I have 2 bulbs connected together, right, in a series circuit. They're connected, just one loop. I can turn on the switch. We can see the brightness. We can see the current flowing. And again, we want to measure the current. So what is the current in this circuit? Current now is 1.35 amps. So I can go back to my document here. If you're working at home, you can just take a little snip, right? Use the snipping tool. Take a snip of this and paste it in here. It's going to be way too big. Shrink it down a little bit. All right, we can use the snipping tool to put that in there. If you're in school and you have a hard copy, you can just draw it out, draw what it looks like. So we took a little snip of it, we drew it in, fill in the chart on the next page. So down here, we want to fill in the chart again. We measured the current. The current was, we use this little crosshair, put it on there, 1.35. So we can go back to our table here. 1.35. And what happened to the brightness of the bulbs? I think we can see that they're not nearly as bright as they were originally, right? The 1 bulb was way brighter than the 2 bulbs, so the brightness has decreased. So I'm going to say just bright. They're not very bright anymore. They're just bright. The brightness has decreased. And then we want to do the same thing. So step 3, make a 4-bulb series circuit. So adding 2 more bulbs in here. Now it's going to get a little cramped. Maybe we add the bulb up at the top here. Right? Again, making sure that both of those connectors are connected. Actually, let's add the other one right in here. Get this in here, connected, slide this over, connected. 4 bulbs connected in series. There we go. Like I said, we can take a snip of that, paste that into our document. If we're not working on the computer with this, right, like I said, just draw it in as best you can. I get this up there. There we go. Right, there it is. And same thing. We want to measure the current and talk about the brightness. So if we look here, these brightness, or the bulbs are much dimmer than they were originally, right? That first bulb was like, did I snip it with the bulb on, or did I snip it with the bulb off? I snipped it with the bulb off, but noticeably different, right? We can see the brightness here for 2 bulbs and the brightness here for 4 bulbs, noticeably less bright for 2 bulbs, or for 4 bulbs than for 2 bulbs. And we can take our little measuring tool and measure the current as well. Again, that comes from the right side of the screen over here. And the current is now 0.67. So I can go back here and in my table, 0.67 amps. And the bulbs are now, they're not very bright. They're kind of dim, right? The bulbs have decreased in brightness. So current is decreasing as we add bulbs. Brightness is decreasing as we add bulbs. I'm going to leave the conceptual questions here for you guys to answer. So what happens to the amount of current when bulbs are added? We should be able to say that now that we've got the information there. What happens to the brightness when more bulbs are added? We should be able to answer that now based on our table. How many bulbs do you have to add for the lights to go out completely? So if we just keep adding light bulbs, right? Light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. If I include all of these light bulbs, and actually, I think you can get all of these light bulbs in there. It only gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It only gives you 10 light bulbs. If you go down, there's some more light bulbs you can use. So 11, 12. Try and get these all in there. See how many you can put in before the bulbs stop shining. All right. Before we get no light out of the light bulbs. Is there still flow in the circuit, right? We can put the current sensor on there and measure the flow, see if there's still anything flowing in the circuit. And then our kind of application question, do you think Christmas lights are strung in series? What do you think? Would it make sense for Christmas lights to be strung in series like we have up here? So like I said, I'll leave those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conceptual questions for you guys to answer. Now we're going to build a group of circuits or parallel circuits. So we're switching to parallel. We've talked about series. We have notes on series. We've just seen what happens in a series circuit. Now we want to talk about parallel circuits, right? So build a 2-bulb parallel circuit like the picture below. So, well, let's clear this out. And let's build a 2-bulb parallel circuit. So there's that. We want to go down to a light bulb. And actually, that doesn't matter. Switch in here and connect those last 2 points. There's one circuit, right? We saw that earlier with our single circuit. This time, we're adding a circuit in parallel. So we're going to come add a light bulb here. Again, making sure both of those circles on the light bulb are connected. Add a switch in, add a wire there. There we go, 2-bulb circuit. So I constructed that circuit. And actually down when we get to the table here, it has a 1 bulb, which was our original circuit. So we can just go back up to the top and reuse this information. So 2.7 amps and very bright for the 1 bulb circuit. So 2.70 amps, and it was very bright for the 1 bulb circuit. So now we want to look at, just like it says here, build this group or build a 2-bulb parallel circuit. And then we want to fill in the table for the 2-bulb parallel circuit. So what is the total current? And what is the brightness? It says right here in step 2, make sure we're measuring the current by the battery. So we want to measure the current by the battery. So I'm going to close both of these switches. And I'm going to measure the current by the battery. All right, so these are our batteries. Current here is 5.40. So we can come back here for a 2-bulb circuit. Current is 5.40, and the brightness is still very bright. If we look at those, adding the second, adding the second bulb didn't change the brightness at all. Look at how bright those are still. Right, still a very bright circuit. Let me open both of those up again. Add another bulb to make a 3-bulb. This should say parallel circuit. Add a bulb to make a 3-bulb parallel circuit. Measure the current by the battery. So we're going to add another branch to our circuit here. Another leg, if you will. Another light bulb. Another switch. And another wire. There we go. And we can close all those. Very bright, add the second one in there, very bright still, add the third one in there, very bright still, right? The brightness doesn't change when we're adding the third bulb. We can, again, take a little snip of this if we're working on the computer. If you're not working on the computer, just draw it in, right? Draw your 3-bulb circuit in there. That'll be fine. I can paste it in here. Shrink it down a little bit. Bring my table back. And let's measure the current near the battery. Current near the battery. If I take this over here, 8.10. So our current is going to be 8.10. And the bulbs are still very bright, right? The bulbs are still as bright as they were originally. So we have our answers there, right? 2.7, 5.4, 8.10, all very bright. And just like last time, I'll let you guys kind of handle this. What happens to the amount of charge flow in the wire by the battery when the bulbs are added in parallel? So what happens to the current, right? How does the current change? What happens to the brightness when more bulbs are added? We have that answer now. If you keep adding bulbs, will the bulbs go out? What do we think? If I added more bulbs in parallel, would the bulbs ever go out? Try it. Try it. Take it, right? We have 10 bulbs. We could keep extending this outward. Will the bulbs ever go out? Who knows? Go back to the original circuit shown below. Measure the current through the wire by the battery, by current A, and by wire B. So through the battery up at the top here, the wire through bulb A, and the current in the wire through bulb B. So we want to measure those 3 things right there. I'm just going to turn off this light bulb. So turning off this light bulb makes it not part of the circuit. And then I have just the 2-bulb circuit like it asks me to answer about, right? This circuit right here. So let's measure the current by the battery. We should have already, it's 5.4. Oops, wrong one. Wire by the battery, 5.4 amps. By wire A, which is the middle wire, we can come down here, 2.7. So we can put in 2.7 there. 0 amps. Wire B, slide this over to wire B, 2.7 amps. So we can put that in there. 2.70 amps. What do you notice? What do you notice? I'll leave that again up for you. And the application, what would be the benefit of wiring something in parallel? See what you can come up with. And then finally, a little bonus question. After learning about series and parallel circuits, what do you think we'll see in the following circuit, right? Which bulb do you think will be the brightest? Bulb 1, bulb 2, bulb 3. Which bulb will be the dimmest? 1, 2, 3. Will any of the bulbs be the same brightness? Again, 1, 2, 3. And then build it and see if you're right? Construct this circuit. It's got 3 batteries, light bulb in the middle with a switch at the bottom, 2 light bulbs on the end with a switch at the bottom. Build it, turn on the switches, see if you're correct. All right, so I want you to make a little prediction here. I'll leave that one completely up to you. I'm not going to do that one for you. You guys have seen how to do this whole thing so far. So I think you guys should be able to finish that up. All right, so I have done the data collection parts, or shown you how to do the data collection parts for the activity today. All you need to answer now is the guiding questions, right? Those 5 questions right here for series circuits, and then the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions right there for parallel circuits. All right. Like I said, I'm not sure if the sub will be on the Zoom. If they're not, you have your instructions, you have everything, you should be ready to go. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to end the recording. Have a great day.